Her beauty led to tragedy. She refused the king's love, died, and the emperor started a revenge war. In the southern reaches of the ancient Benin Empire, where the red soil met the lush riverbanks of 𝐬𝐽𝐫𝐽, lived a maiden named Adesuwa. She was the daughter of 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐽 Her, a respected elephant hunter, a healer whose hands knew the language of roots and spirits. Adesuwa's beauty was not ordinary. The elders said she was born under the Ovia moon, the moon of divine grace. Her skin glowed like burnished bronze, and her eyes held the calm depth of the 𝐼𝐸 River. When she walked through the village, even the leaves seemed to pause their rustle. But her beauty was not only of the body. Adesuwa's heart was wise, and her tongue carried stories that even the griots paused to hear. She helped her mother mix healing salves and taught the village children how to speak to the gods of the forest. By the age of 18, many suitors had come, warriors with panther skins, noblemen with chests of coral beads, even traveling traders with gold coins from across the Niger. She turned them all down with a gentle smile. "I will marry only when the gods whisper peace to my spirit," she said. Those words would reach ears she never meant them to. To the northeast, across thick forests and winding rivers, ruled a man called 𝐸𝐵𝐸𝐸𝐻𝐸, a vassal king in the territory of 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐸𝐻𝐸. Though he paid homage to the Oba of Benin, the 𝐸𝐵 was proud and wealthy, and often whispered among his men, "I should wear the coral crown, not bow to it." One day, a delegation from 𝐬𝐽𝐽 arrived in 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐸𝐻𝐸, bearing carved ivory tusks for trade. Among them was an old man who had seen Adesuwa days earlier. The traders drank palm wine in the 𝐸𝐵's court and, without knowing the danger, spoke of the daughter of light in 𝐬𝐽𝐽. A woman so dark, her beauty caused rain to fall where it had not. The 𝐸𝐵, unmarried and swollen with pride, leaned forward. "What did you say her name was?" "Adesuwa, my king. She is the daughter of the hunter who killed the white-tusked elephant." That night, the 𝐸𝐵 sent for his advisers. "Go to 𝐬𝐽𝐽, bring gifts, cloth, beads, cattle, wine. Tell her father I will take her as queen. It is not a request." 3 days later, 6 messengers arrived at 𝐬𝐽𝐽's gates. They brought horses draped in silk, baskets of yam, and fine cloth from Agbor. They stood before Adesuwa's father and unrolled the 𝐸𝐵's scroll. The message was short: "Let your daughter walk with honor into the palace of 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐸𝐻𝐸. The 𝐸𝐵 will make her his queen, and your house will rise with her." Adesuwa listened quietly as her father read the scroll. The courtyard was silent except for the chickens scratching the earth. Then, with the calm of a stream, Adesuwa spoke. "Tell the 𝐸𝐵 that a queen is not taken like a goat at market. Tell him I do not wish to be his." The lead messenger blinked in disbelief. "Do you understand who you refuse?" "I understand," she said, "and still I refuse." The messengers left in silence, but their silence carried danger. News traveled fast across the empire. By the time the 𝐸𝐵 received word of Adesuwa's rejection, he was livid. "No one refuses me," he roared. "Not even the Oba himself would dare." The 𝐸𝐵 sent a final message, this time not with beads or smiles, but with threat. "You have shamed my house. If she does not come willingly, I will come myself." The message reached the Oba of Benin, Oba 𝐸𝐻𝐫𝐽, through a market informant. The Oba frowned as he read the threat. "Does the 𝐸𝐵 forget that he kneels under my shadow?" he asked his chiefs. Still, he did nothing, not yet. The traditions of Benin were strong. No blood would be spilled without cause. But the cause was soon to come. 2 weeks later, under a moon swollen like a red drum, shadows entered 𝐬𝐽𝐽𝐽. They moved like leopards, quiet and swift. Adesuwa was returning from the shrine of Ovia when she saw them. At first she thought them hunters. Then one man grabbed her arm. She fought, like the daughter of a warrior. Her screams echoed across the trees. Villagers ran out with torches, spears, and cutlasses. A scuffle broke out. 3 of the 𝐬𝐵's men were captured, but it was too late. Adesuwa lay in her mother's arms, blood soaking the earth, her lips trying to form a word that never came. She died before sunrise. The next morning, the captured men confessed. "The 𝐬𝐵 sent us," they said. "He told us to bring her alive, or leave a warning." The 𝐬𝐵 of Benin sat on his throne, his face carved like stone. The royal bell rang out 3 times. The palace chiefs and warriors gathered. "This is no longer insult," the 𝐬𝐵 said. "It is murder. It is rebellion." The empire moved swiftly. The 𝐬𝐵 of Uzebu raised the warriors of Benin. The 𝐻𝐵𝐵, master of war, sharpened his sword. Even the 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐵, the prime minister, called for vengeance. Drums of war beat through Benin city. Messengers were sent to loyal towns. Warriors came in waves, each bearing the leopard crest of the 𝐬𝐵. It would not be a skirmish, it would be war. The 𝐬𝐵 believed his fortified walls and mercenaries from 𝐸𝐵𝐿a would protect him. He was wrong. The Benin army marched like a tide, from Usulu to Agbor, from Igor to the gates of Umunede. They came with bronze swords, poison-tipped spears, and fire in their eyes. The siege lasted 7 days. On the 8th day, a secret path was revealed by a hunter loyal to Benin. The walls fell. The palace of the 𝐬𝐵 was burned to the ground. His throne was shattered. He was captured hiding beneath the bed of his chief wife. They brought him before the 𝐬𝐵 in chains. "For the blood of Adesuwa," the 𝐬𝐵 declared, "you shall answer." The 𝐬𝐵 was executed publicly at 𝐸𝐻𝐻𝐻 Square, his body buried outside the city walls. An eternal shame. In 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐿, Adesuwa was laid to rest beneath a large 𝐸𝐻𝐻𝐿 tree, the same one where she used to sit and tell children stories of the gods. A shrine was built in her name. Women from across the kingdom came to leave gifts: bracelets, white cloth, and shea butter. They called her Adesuwa the Brave, the woman who said no. The 𝐬𝐵 declared her a guardian of women's voices. Even years later, young girls whispered her name when they faced pressure from powerful men. And in Benin, the story was carved into bronze. A woman standing proud, with her back to a king and her face toward the rising sun. The war of Adesuwa became more than revenge. It became a turning point in how vassal kings behaved under the 𝐬𝐵. Never again would a ruler dare claim what was not freely given. And the tale of the woman who died for her right to choose became one of the empire's most powerful legends. Not because she fought in battle, but because she chose her freedom, even at the cost of her life. Before Adesuwa became legend, she was simply a girl who loved climbing trees and chasing lizards through yam fields. Her laughter rang louder than the rooster's crow. Her mother, Edewor, often said, "This girl was born with the voice of thunder and the feet of wind." As a child, Adesuwa would follow her father into the forest when he went hunting. While most children feared the cries of baboons or the tracks of panthers, Adesuwa was curious. One day, after her father struck down a gazelle with his bow, she walked up to it, eyes wide. Instead of cheering, she whispered, "Its eyes are still open." From that day on, she learned to honor all life. She helped her mother heal injured goats and even nursed a wounded eagle back to flight. Her spirit was gentle, but her courage was fierce, a balance that only the gods could craft. The village elders noticed early on. They began inviting her to moonlight gatherings, where grown women told secrets in stories and riddles. Adesuwa listened carefully, her heart recording every parable. By 12, she could argue with chiefs. By 15, she stood unshaken in the face of warriors. And by 18, she was no longer just a girl. She was a flame. 𝐬𝐵 Odion had not always been cruel. He once served as a loyal warrior to the 𝐬𝐵's father. But after his elder brother died mysteriously, Odion claimed the throne and began isolating 𝐸𝐻𝐵𝐻 from Benin's inner circle. He built high walls, taxed his people heavily, and kept a harem of silent wives, each one chosen for their beauty, none for their voice. When he heard of Adesuwa, it was not truly love that stirred in him. It was control, possession, a challenge. He had seen many women bow, but the idea of one refusing made him restless. In truth, it was not Adesuwa's beauty that unsettled him. It was her will. After Adesuwa's death and before the war broke out, Queen Mother Idia, the 𝐸𝐵𝐻's mother. Her voice was soft but carried the power of generations. "I told you about the 𝐸𝐵𝐻," she said. "Any man who sees women as objects will one day strike at the heart of the kingdom." The 𝐸𝐵𝐻 said, "I know." "Please make her death mean something," she said. "I will," 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞 promised. And he did. When the 𝐸𝐵𝐻's army marched to 𝐸𝐻𝐵𝐻, it wasn't just a military act, it was a spiritual one. High priests of 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞, god of war, anointed the soldiers with sacred oil. Women of Olokun festival carried flaming torches, singing war songs passed down from the time of 𝐸𝐵𝐻. Children watched from treetops. Hunters offered secret paths through the forest. Even the leopards seemed to move aside as the army advanced. The 𝐸𝐵𝐻's forces, though numerous, fought without heart. Most were mercenaries who did not know the land. Many of his own chiefs began to whisper betrayal. They had seen the omens, red rain, dreams of crying birds, and goats giving birth to stillborns. On the 5th day of the siege, Benin warriors launched a surprise attack at night. The 𝐬𝐵𝐻 led them himself, his face painted white like a ghost. They set fire to the stables, broke the palace gates, and scattered the 𝐸𝐵𝐻's guards. By the 8th day, the 𝐸𝐵𝐻's court was nothing but ash. And when he was dragged out, tied and trembling, the people of 𝐸𝐻𝐵𝐻 did not cry for him. They cheered. The 𝐸𝐵𝐻 was brought before the 𝐸𝐵𝐻 in the presence of the 7 chiefs and the royal scribes. "You forgot your place," the 𝐸𝐵𝐻 said coldly. "I only wanted what was beautiful," the 𝐸𝐵𝐻 whispered, head bowed. The 𝐸𝐵𝐻 rose, pointing his ivory sword. "And now you've made her death more powerful than your throne." He signaled to the guards. The 𝐸𝐵𝐻 was taken to Okunmun Square, where traitors were judged. He was executed without fanfare, his body buried away from the ancestral grounds, never to be honored. Back in 𝐬𝐝𝐫𝐽, the village gathered around Adesuwa's tomb. A sculptor was summoned from Benin City. He carved her likeness in bronze, her head lifted, one hand raised in refusal, the other holding a calabash of peace. The 𝐸𝐵𝐻 declared a yearly remembrance, the festival of the refuser. Young girls wore white and carried palm leaves, singing songs that told Adesuwa's story. Women came to the shrine seeking courage, the courage to speak, to say no, to choose themselves. And it is said that on quiet nights, when the wind rustles the 𝐸𝐝𝐽 tree above her grave, you can hear her whisper, "A woman is not a prize to be won. She is a spirit to be honored." Years later, the story of Adesuwa would be told beyond Benin, carried by griots across West Africa, remembered in woven cloths and danced in masquerade. Some said she was foolish to reject a king. Others said she was brave to die free. But all agreed, her story changed the empire. She taught the world that power has limits, that beauty is not consent, and that even in death, a woman's voice can shake a throne.